Okay. Okay, welcome everybody. This is the executive board meeting for the NCAC March 26, 2025. And we'll get rolling on the agenda here. So call the meeting to order at 1 o'clock. Conflict of interest question to officers and chairs. I will just let folks go kind of one at a time. I have no conflicts.
I have no conflicts either.
I have no conflicts.
I have no conflicts. This is Alex.
No conflicts, Nancy.
Okay.
Rand's on mute.
Oh, Rand, yeah, Rand.
Rand, you're on mute. Still on mute. There you go.
Third attempt, and no conflicts on my part.
Okay. Okay, February 26, 2025 meeting minutes. Gary sent those out a couple days ago. Hopefully everybody's had a chance to look at those. Are there any changes or changes to those minutes from anybody?
I have some minor edits that I provided to Gary.
Same here.
I collected minutes and I put that all together in the hopefully final draft that's linked on the upcoming page's website. So I don't know if everybody's had a chance to see the amended minutes yet.
Okay.
No.
I don't think I
Are
have.
they
I
they
can
in the event folder?
you go to the upcoming events page for the meeting, for this meeting, and you'll see the draft, a link to the draft.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, I could share it here, but it's kind of lengthy.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Thank you. I
But
just
I
didn't
think-
see it when I checked earlier.
Yeah, I think I got everybody's edits and comments into the minutes. So I don't think I'm missing anything.
Okay,
All right. So we take a minute and have people review it, or people seen that?
I think it's now if it's corrected, it's probably now
Yeah.
reasonable for the public to read it.
All right, thank you for doing that.
All right. So go ahead and approve the minutes as amended, unless without objection. And approve those. So we get bylaws and community plan updates, outreach task force. I'll get to that, but Susan's gone. We'll have a few comments about that, and then really the agenda item for the April 12th general meeting is, well, it's the last item on the agenda other than public comment. So we'll go ahead and get started with the bylaws subcommittee check-in with Nancy.
Okay, thank you. So we've been very active in working on the policies and procedures and resources, and have made quite a bit of progress in the last few weeks. Sarah and I were able to have a session just one-on-one with a whole bunch of questions that the committees had a couple weeks ago, and then she was able to attend our last bylaws subcommittee meeting last Friday. And as was Mark, thank you, Mark. And so she was, and actually it was one where we didn't have a quorum. There's several of our members that had other things. So it ended up being a good working meeting, just as an informational meeting. So it's helpful. I think we may end up adding another bylaws subcommittee meeting kind of sandwiched between the next two, just because we have a lot going on before the feedback sessions. So we do have a little bit of a feedback session update I wanted to share with you. There was one date that didn't work out for the committee, so I want to make sure that it works for all of you, particularly you, Rand, with your stuff. Can you guys see the schedule? And I can't
Mhm.
remember
Yeah.
exactly what we changed, but we have meetings on Wednesdays at 7 p.m., on Saturdays at 10 a.m., on the April 9th, 16th, 26th, and 30th, and then and May 3rd, and then if we need them on May 7th, 10th, and 14th. And I think that avoids any conflicts with yours, Ran, and also with the general meeting and that kind of thing. Let me know if that's a problem. And it looks like Sarah can make all of those except the one on the 16th. She's gonna make all the others. So that's what we're hoping for. And I have no idea how much interest or little interest we're going to have on this. We had lots of interest during the bylaws development, but I'm kind of hoping that we won't. Also, this is in our meeting packet as well. And we did set up a new folder in the bylaws subcommittee area that's going to have the latest versions of the feedback session schedule, the latest versions of the policies and procedures draft, and a couple of other items that agendas and that kind of thing, that the latest version that we can just flip in and out. And Gary, I don't know if there's some way we could stick a pointer to that on the general website, that that if somebody's looking for the bylaws stuff, they can just go to have a pointer that's kind of like the one for the community plan, where they could just go in and see
Ye-
that folder. So
Yeah,
maybe,
yeah, we should be able to put together a new web page for that.
okay, thank you. And then something where we could just easily put in the latest version. But does anyone see any problem with this feedback session schedule?
So I think Candace had already gone ahead and put in at least the April dates, but I want to go ahead and check to make sure that they're correct. So we have 4 sessions scheduled so far in Zoom. Did you say any of these April dates changed from what you initially sent us?
One did, but that was this was changed immediately after our last board meeting. It was at the next bylaws subcommittee meeting. So I think it was like version 3 that we talked about. So I'll go and I didn't realize she'd actually gone in and scheduled some.
Yeah, we haven't. So we're holding off on actually sending out any invites or public information until we get we were going to get a write up from you, Nancy, on a
Yeah,
revised of what you'd sent previously, and then we would actually send out the actual Zoom invites.
yeah, we really appreciate all that you guys are doing on that. I should have been more prepared with what the change was, and I will try to do that as the meeting goes, and I'll figure out what the feedback session change was. Let me just go into version 4. You know, it all looks the same, so I don't know. Maybe it was May. There was something where a couple of our members couldn't make it. So I'm going to stop sharing. So one of the things I wanted to offer to you is we're making a lot of suggestions here to be adopted that will affect the executive board. And I'm wondering if you guys would like to have a private, I mean, it'd be public, but just for the executive board, on going over things that particularly affect you guys, the officers and committee chairs, to kind of go through things before we go into the feedback sessions or after the first feedback session. You're always welcome to attend any of our feedback sessions and comment as well, but this would give you a chance to get more familiar with the document and some of the things that affect you guys.
I think it's a good idea. Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else interested in that?
I'd be
Some of the
interested in
things.
joining.
Yeah,
Okay, great, Alex. And Mark's been attending all of our meetings, so he's pretty much on board. But
Yeah.
yeah, you'd probably be interested in hearing what the others have to say. So, and of course, Sarah's been involved as well. But some of the things that, and something that came up as we've been talking quite a bit about conflict of interest, because like it's the first time I've had to deal with this, and we kind of all blithely say, yeah, we have no conflicts. We've done quite a bit of research on what does that mean. And we could do a really simple training annually that we could stick in the policies and procedures, just a simple, probably 15-minute training annually of new officers after they're elected or sometime before maybe July 1 or whatever on what that means. I don't think it would take very long, but we are sticking quite a bit of stuff in the policies and procedures resources from the Oregon Ethics Commission on, because we are considered public figures as far as Oregon law is concerned. And so we're subject to that, which is why we're saying these things. And it's actually pretty relaxed on you. It's mainly declaring that you have a conflict, not necessarily that it makes any difference on how you vote or whether you vote and that kind of thing. But there's a lot of subtleties to it. So that's one. We're also talking about some things that affect, I mean, obviously the job descriptions will affect you guys, and we'll be working with you very closely, each of you on that. But one of the things we've talked about is records retention. And I know, Gary, you had said we may be reaching a limit on our YouTube space and possibly on our website space. Is that right?
I think we're okay on the YouTube. I didn't really specify. It almost seems as if we have sort of unlimited space there. It's our Google Drive is getting close to being full, but I think that's because there are some videos that were placed there rather than uploaded to YouTube. And I don't know, there may be from a couple of years back. And so I think if we can find some way to archive those onto YouTube somehow and clean up that'll gain us back a lot of space on the Google Drive.
Okay. Oh, good.
Zoom is always limited. At most, we can hold maybe up to 5 videos at a time before we've got to start. So, I try to clean those out regularly, make sure that they're uploaded to YouTube and then delete them. I kind of keep them there for about a week afterwards just to see if, make sure that everything's going okay on YouTube. But I can't, I mean, that's part of the thing you're paying for getting on the YouTube channel is they're going to do all the backups and data restoration if there's some sort of catastrophic cloud failure on their side.
Okay, well, that's great then. Sarah said that by Oregon law, Potomac County is required to keep all records in perpetuity. And so she actually has a budget proposal to the county for quite a bit of money, actually about $200,000, just to be able to have some robust record keeping, particularly as a lot of these groups are doing video. And so she thinks we're doing great because we're keeping everything on our website. If they ever get a request for records, they'll basically send people to our website to look at the records in the archives. But she did mention that having, like we talked about last time, having emails for each officer and committee chair would be helpful in terms of if we use those, so that if there is ever a records request for our emails, they don't have to get our personal emails. Apparently they would have the ability, the county would have a right to come in and actually go through our personal emails, which I would not be happy about. So having, like we have a bylaws email account that I try to use most of the time. So all of them would be stashed there. So I think that's something, Gary, I know you're looking into as a follow-up from our last conversation about setting up, say, Gmail accounts for everybody.
Yeah, I still haven't gotten to that. I did, though, investigate one of the requests that you did last time, which was the ability to do an annual registration of members. And so I finally had to, I couldn't find it. I finally had to get with Jeff Weitzel, and he was able to lead me to it. It's not intuitive at all. With the Zoom, you have to go ahead and set up a meeting. Then after the meeting has been set up, you can go and edit it. And when you edit those settings, you can request that people do basically a questionnaire before they're able to actually get the registration done. And so in that questionnaire is where we put in, okay, how are you eligible to be a member of the NCAC and do all that. If you have any record of the questions, how we asked it for members,
I do.
Send that to me, and then I can get that prepared. I guess we want to use that for the April 12th meeting.
That'd be great if you have time to do it. And alternatively, our official annual meeting is the June one. We just had election of officers for the April one, just so people had new officers had a chance to kind of come up to speed before July 1. But so either meeting would be great. So yeah, I can get those to you pretty quickly.
Thinking I'd probably set up a test meeting just as a dummy placeholder just to see if it works and try
That'd
it
be
out
great.
before I actually try it live.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, and we actually have a draft in the policies and procedures of what we want to capture. So
Okay.
it's not approved yet, but if I don't think there's anything really objectionable to it. So we want to keep it simple, not arduous for people to fill in and just once a year. But I think that'd be really nice to know who our members are, at least the ones that attend the meeting, and then have something on the website where if they're new or didn't attend that meeting, they could go in and register at that point too. Just
It'll
give us
cap-
a little more robust.
It'll only capture those who actually register on web. If they use their phones and just phone in, you can still get to the meeting that way without having to answer any questions.
Oh, okay. So there's not a way to do that for phone people.
I don't think so, but I'll
Okay.
look into it.
Yeah, Zoom doesn't make it easy, do they?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
So we've also been talking quite a bit. 'Cause Mark has mentioned before that he's gotten a number of different requests, and I think some of them come from us on working with others, organizations. And so we've got a draft, I think, more fleshed out. So we could talk about that at this special meeting that we could schedule so that you guys all have a chance to weigh in on that. So that handles fundraising requests, it handles ballot measures, requests to speak at a meeting, requests to go out on our email, requests to partner with other organizations in different ways. So that's been kind of a priority for the group to look at, and I think it affects everybody. So I don't want to take the time today, but could we go ahead and schedule something for us to do a draft feedback session for the board? And would you prefer an evening or a weekend day?
Probably.
Okay, it's a feedback session again, Nancy, on the updates
On
to
the
the
policies to the
yeah. Okay,
policies and
okay,
procedures.
okay.
Yeah. Kind of an
And
overview.
okay,
I'm hoping we could do it in one meeting. It would be
yeah,
at least 2 hours. It might need
yeah,
a couple depending on how
yeah.
much discussion, but we would prioritize it with the things that directly affect the board.
Uh-huh. Um, I guess I'm just wondering if we'd want to do it maybe after the election. I guess but if we do it after the election, then we'll do it after the election because it's close. But if we'd want to invite the new officers
That's a really good
to
idea.
be a part of that, just because it's just kind of going over the
Mhm.
PMP, and a little bit of that conversation will be maybe maybe a little bit of insight for the new officers about why we're doing it or why we're looking at it or that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. And that way the current officers with the experience with it can weigh in and the new officers can
Yeah,
also weigh in.
yeah,
Yeah, that's great. Okay. So basically it would be sometime after the second Saturday in April. Sometime after April 12th. So in terms of, and we'd
yeah.
check with them, but in terms of your guys' schedule, would you prefer a weekend or prefer an evening?
Probably
Or an
May is better
afternoon?
for yeah. May is better for me just because I'm going to
Oh,
be
that's right. You're gonna be gone.
traveling. But May would be better. So
Okay.
uh,
I think that would be fine because we'll have already had some feedback session. We'd have most of
uh-huh.
the feedback session input
Yeah,
by then.
yeah,
But we could also at that point give the feedback from the feedback sessions when we meet with you guys.
mhm.
It would just we could then schedule another group feedback session for everybody after we have a chance to make any adjustments based on what you all want to do. So maybe early May. When are you going to be back, Mark?
Oh, I think it's the 30th of April is when we're scheduled to be back. So
Okay. So
Um,
we have our last feedback session or a feedback session scheduled for Saturday, the 10th of May. We could
okay.
make that a board one.
Executive board.
Mhm. Or we could just have another one, like do a Wednesday night. But what do you, I'm flexible, so whatever.
Yeah,
On
I
my front,
think.
sorry, Mark, go ahead.
Go ahead, Al.
Oh, I think I would, weekends are a little easier for me. If it's a 2 hour meeting, that's not something I can usually do on a weeknight.
Yeah.
And I think is that May 10th meeting scheduled for 10 a.m.
Yes. I
Um,
think the farmer's market hasn't started at that point, right?
That's right. Yep. So I can, that's on my calendar. I can certainly make that. If there's room to turn that into an executive board update meeting, I would vote for that.
Yeah, why don't we do that? Because that's an already listed as an if needed meeting for the general public. So I think that would work out really well. I mean, I have no idea how much interest we're going to have on these things, on how many people will show up. So we may be able to get it done in 2 meetings. I don't know, but why don't we plan on that then? The May 7th, Saturday, May 7th at 10. Does that anyone have a conflict with that?
I think I'll be in
I'm-
Mexico.
Oh,
Okay. Can you come in from Mexico, or is there a time difference? Or are you on vacation?
I'll be on vacation. Well, what day were you
May
suggesting?
7th, May
That's-
7th, Saturday.
That's Wednesday?
I think
No, it's
Oh,
a
that-
Saturday's
Oh,
Saturday's
May
the
10th.
The-
I'm sorry, May
the
10th.
10th,
I
yeah.
apologize, May 10th.
Yeah, I'll probably be traveling back from Mexico on the 10th,
Okay.
but
Um,
don't let me hold you up.
What if we did May 17th would be getting really close to the special meeting to adopt.
I could do May 11th, Sunday.
Okay, I could do that. How about anyone else? Any
I
objection to May 11th?
I should be able to do that.
Special
Okay.
Mother's Day bylaws meeting.
That's
Oh
on
God, it's Mother's Day.
Oh, shoot.
People's, your wives might
Yeah.
be not
Yeah.
happy with that.
Yeah.
I would do it, but
No, just don't make it around dinner time.
I'm glad somebody else noticed that. Okay. And you won't be back the previous Sunday, right, Mark? So let's see.
I will be back for the 3rd. By the 3rd, I'll be back. May 3rd, or is that?
Oh, okay.
Maybe let me look at. Maybe I get May 3rd.
Okay. So that's our session 5. I could do either May 3rd or May 4th. What are your preferences?
I'll be traveling to Mexico on May 4th. So May 3rd is currently open. Is it any way we can do it in the afternoon, like 1 p.m. or 1 or 2 start time?
That'd be fine with me. What about you, Alex? I think you wanted them in the morning.
I'm gone on vacation that week. So
No.
unfortunately I would have to miss that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a chance that I could phone in, but I probably wouldn't be able to attend for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what about Friday the 9th? I know it's a weekday though.
I'll still be gone.
Okay.
Yeah.
or daytime during the week work for you guys? Well, Alex, you said that was kind of a problem for you during the week, like Tuesday the 13th.
I could, if it's a midweek during the afternoon,
Mhm.
that works better for me. The evenings are uh, cut into some
Yeah,
family time that I need.
right. Okay, so what do people think about Tuesday the 13th in the afternoon?
That should work for me.
Yeah, me too.
I think that should be fine.
See. What,
Whatever time you
what,
guys want. I'm open all afternoon.
that's, May 13th.
Mhm.
Um,
We don't have
oh,
any
yeah.
conflict with
Yeah, I got-
your group, do we, Ran, on for the May
No,
13th?
not on Tuesdays.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah, I do have a couple things on that date, but I'm wondering, going back to April, instead of taking the whole month out of April, maybe, I think it's an 8 hour time difference. So like noon there is noon here is 8 o'clock there, I think at night.
Uh-huh, I think so.
So um I could probably do something like noon or 1 o'clock here
Okay,
on a day in April. And we're not, that my wife hasn't scheduled us to go see something.
okay.
So,
Um,
but so let me look here. Because taking the whole month out is a lot, so
mhm.
and we're traveling, there's some travel days in there from one place to another. So maybe we can come back. Can I look and then maybe you can
Yeah,
go
well,
on,
come back
Nancy,
at
and we
the
can
end.
come back to it here.
Yeah, that
I'll
sounds
look here.
good.
Okay.
That sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah, I think actually that last week of April would be great as far as my schedule looks.
Okay. Mhm.
Okay, so why don't we revisit that? Sorry for taking so
Yeah.
much time. So if everybody could kind of look at the last week of April and see if there are any dates that you're not available. So thank you.
I leave
I
on the
think
29th of April. I'm not sure if
Okay.
you're considering the last week as the partial week or the last full week, but I do leave on the
okay.
29th.
Okay.
Okay.
I was considering that week. Okay.
Okay.
Maybe you live on what day, Alex? The 29th?
Um,
So
Tuesday the 29th. Yeah.
okay, so
The 24th
possibly
or 25th,
I could do the
24th or 25th, maybe, of
I could do
April.
the 25th.
Okay, that's a Friday, and we could do it, start it maybe at let's see, noon, or 1 o'clock could be 9 o'clock for
Mhm.
me. So
Would you rather
one,
start earlier, like noon? Or we have a feedback session
mhm,
scheduled for the 26th already at 10
mhm,
a.m., but that might be too
mhm.
early for you. That would be
10 a.m. That'd be 2
that'd
in
be
the morning.
6 p.m. your time.
Oh, 6 p.m. Okay, right. 10 a.m. is 6 p.m. So let me look here. Oh, you have a bylaws on that day, right?
We have a feedback session. Yeah, we could make
Yeah.
that a board only and publish the new
Oh,
schedule that
okay.
would be board only. I mean,
Okay.
anybody could come, but
Yeah.
it would be we would have already had two feedback sessions that we could
Mhm.
talk about that kind of input. The new officers would be in place, hopefully. Hopefully we have them. And
Okay, why don't we just put that down at 10 a.m. on the 26th, if other people can do that.
Saturday, the
10
26th.
a.m. on the
That works
26th.
for me.
Yeah, that should work.
any objections, anyone else? Okay, I think that would be great. And our bylaws committee already has that scheduled. So I'll just adjust that on the calendar. I'll still put it on there for executive board because we have to publicly notice them, but we'll just have that as a separate overview. And of course, you're all welcome to come to any of the feedback sessions. I know that's what you live for, but um, we'll concentrate on things that involve job descriptions and that kind of thing for that meeting. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And that's all I have.
Okay. Great. Thank you, Nancy.
Mhm.
Yeah, thank you.
And then Rand, you're up.
Okay, so community
Yeah.
plan remains focused on this middle housing. So this week we met and we've zeroed in on the standards and ordinances, and Sarah is working on writing those up and then working with Tom to present those in one piece of paper about that we could share before the meeting on the 24th. So when she presents, people have access to the information and she's kind of explaining it as they have a copy of it. On the following Saturday, we will have a live hybrid meeting at the clubhouse for people to give feedback from that middle housing information that they have a copy of and got straight from Sarah as to the why and whatever. And that will be without Sarah. So the committee will be taking the questions and really noting the questions and the feedback that we get at that live session. And then coming after that meeting, we will process that feedback into the document in the next meeting. And hopefully by later in, well, we'll probably schedule another public meeting about 2 weeks after that to use that feedback to come back with the document. And what we're trying to do is get this section done because it's kind of the main outstanding element of the community plan. And if we can get the feedback sessions, kind of resolve those issues and bring it back to people and they're good with it, we can then present the entire plan with the SB 406 middle housing piece fleshed out from the feedback and included in it. And we would be ready, depending on how much feedback we get and if we can resolve those things, to present the whole thing in May for the acceptance of the community at that point. So
Randall?
we don't have the meetings scheduled from the 5th out yet. We'll probably do that this coming this Saturday, after this Saturday's meeting. We'll know what we have ahead for the 5th and we'll start to schedule from there on out.
Randall, for your hybrid meeting on the 5th, do you have the AV equipment and are you going to be the one running that?
Well, I would probably appreciate some help, but I'm gonna go purchase it because Sarah won't be here for the meeting. So we won't have any equipment. So if we want it, I have to go buy it. So I'll go buy it and hopefully read the instructions accurately,
Mhm.
not my forte. But it would be helpful to have other people know how to do it also. We don't want me to be dependent upon for not only equipment, but how to read it. It's too much dependence on me, not a techie. But I believe, because I think Tom is not available for that April 5th meeting and he has some background with it. So anyway, I'll be gearing up for the April 5th meeting and I'll try some things to see. Maybe I can work with you, Gary, to set up a faux Zoom meeting to plug the right things into the monitor down there and do all that rigmarole. I mean, I've been there and I've helped plug it into the big screen so that everyone at the meeting can see the people who are on Zoom. But it will be kind of my first run at doing it all. So I don't know if you're available between now and the 5th once I get the equipment, I would just give you a call and we could figure out
Yeah.
something that was convenient.
Yeah, we
Is
can work
that
out.
something that you're familiar with?
It depends on what the equipment is. They're all different and they all seem to work differently. So we'll just have to, and you'll bring your own laptop, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And
All right.
and because I'm familiar with the OWL system and it doesn't seem to have been thrown off the airwaves, it still seems to be a popular system. I don't have a lot of guidance towards something else unless someone has had a lot of success with another system. I'll probably get the OWL with as the way it was specified in the grant. It's got a kind of a booster for the audio so that you can move the microphone farther away from the speaker and reach a broader um, audience with that extension. So that's kind of the extent of my knowledge, but I'll be working on that and we could set it up with my laptop and give it a run through down there.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. So that's the main gist of it is this middle housing piece we'd like to get resolved and get people familiar with it. So if we have the information on upcoming events for this Saturday and the following Saturday, but our committee will be sending out things to friends in Nesco to encourage people because these will be the main opportunities to understand the implications of mandated middle housing in unincorporated communities. And this is very particular to Nesco, and that's what we've been going over is how these standards and the ordinances will affect our community. So this is the opportunity to understand that. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with middle housing at all, if that's, if you even know what I'm talking about. That would be duplexes, triplexes, quadplexes, and cottage clusters in our R1, R3, and RR zoning. So that means if there's enough room on a lot, someone could put a fourplex in there or a cottage cluster, which is a bunch of 900 square foot little cottages in a group on a lot.
So is the
So I don't-
county looking like they're going to be more relaxed about permits for water and sewage and that kind of thing than they've been in the past for new building? Or does it have to be like a quadplex or a triplex or duplex or cluster kind of a thing?
Well, it's mandated that these are now options on anything that is zoned R1, R3, or RR, but they still have to fit on the property with all the setbacks and everything. As for utilities and everything, that's required of anything that's going to get built, so that's not changing. This is more specific to how big the lot is and what you're trying to get on that lot and as far as middle housing. So
Yeah.
we just want to
Interesting.
review what the options are and what the standards and ordinances are that help us manage that so that there's not a bunch of large imposing buildings going up. So those are the choices we've been going through and tried to specify, and now it's bringing it to the public who may have concerns about this. So we want to articulate the limitations and the standards and ordinances so that they have more of a comprehensive understanding of middle housing and how it would fit on
Yeah.
the lots in our community.
Really interesting stuff you guys are working.
Yeah, I think there's some good opportunities and we're trying to make it so the vernacular dictates what happens rather than imposing large buildings into a small, very dense community. And it affects, there are lots in South Beach and Beechcrest but mostly across the highway that would fit in the cottage cluster category. But in the village and in the higher density areas, 900 square foot is the limit for any cottage cluster, and duplexes and those things. I still don't quite understand how some of those things fit. Still struggling to understand that. So that's kind of the update. So if you know people who have any interest in this, please encourage them to attend on Saturday, the 2 next Saturdays, so that they can get a better, comprehend it without just reacting to, don't ruin our village.
Yeah.
Hey, Ren, I've got one question. I don't know if it's been answered in previous meetings, but if one property were to have a duplex in a multiple residence and there was one owner, if they applied for an STR license, would they have to get 2 licenses for each kind of sub property, or is this something where someone would look at this opportunity and say, oh, we could get a twofer and have one license covered both units?
In listening to Sarah talking about it, there's not too much opportunity for short-term rentals in these things, but it does have to do with ownership. And usually what she was indicating is that the most one might get it, but there's no current things available for short-term rentals. We're at
Right.
our
So, yeah,
21%. But
Yeah.
she said, we're aware of the potential of short-term rentals taking advantage of this, and we've prepared it so that is not gonna happen.
Right.
But I can't
I mean,
quote you.
okay, cool. Now, the intent of this is to provide more housing for people.
Yeah, it would be
Yeah,
antithetical to why we're doing it, why the
Yeah.
law was passed. So short-term rentals are not the target here. They're, well, they're the target of not happening, I guess.
Okay, thanks.
Sure.
Yeah. I think I've gone to some of the meetings that Rand's had, and the committee is really trying to keep a focus on middle income, that term for housing. And, as we all know, acreage at the coast is expensive, and the committee's aware of that. And, building middle income housing, whether it's cottage clusters or, I don't know, duplexes or triplexes, I think when it's all said and done, it will be interesting to see how the developers, how that plays out,
Yeah.
what middle income housing looks like. I don't know. I'm just, I don't know. I know, and you guys are working hard on trying to make it. You're all constantly talking about, well, remember, this is middle income housing, and so you're constantly talking about that, but it'll be up to the developers, I guess, to, whether it's middle income priced. I don't know.
Well, that's the challenge of putting standards and ordinances together, is if Oregon is already challenged with having so many rules and nobody can build anything because they can't figure out if to fit within the framework with so many specifications. And so we're trying to not have this be overly prescriptive, and we're trying to have the standards and the ordinances actually allow for something that's a reasonable cost without adding on too many things. But
Yeah.
the key is to also make it fit in the vernacular and sizes of the building surrounding it. And we don't have a lot of options within the models to. So it's just narrowed down to a few choices that we have in order to make it functional and affordable. And even that it really depends on all the other costs that may be going up in the next year to two, that would make any kind of housing more and more challenging. But, the state's trying to make something work, and we're a part of that.
Okay. All right. Is that it, Rand?
That's it.
Oh,
Just
okay. All right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Think next
Well-
we've got, oh, go ahead. Somebody have. Oh, okay. We got the outreach task force check-in. So Susan is not, she's in Australia today and emailed me earlier in the week. Early in the week, and said that she was not going to be able to be here. So quick update, she does have, I think it's herself and 3 volunteers on the outreach committee now. Maybe it's 4, and they represent different areas of Neskowin. I can't remember all of the areas, maybe Sahali, maybe the village. I can't remember, but about 4 areas were represented by volunteers that she's going to work with them to try and get the word out about the NCAC to those communities to get more folks involved. She is going to be posting some information at the store, the provision store that's there. They have a bulletin board in the back corner that we're going to be allowed to post some just general NCAC stuff on when the meetings are, every other month on a Saturday, and generally it's a 10 a.m. meeting, and the website and how to contact people on NCAC and that kind of stuff. So she will be doing that. And I think that's it.
Did she send,
Or-
or has
yeah.
anyone sent you applications for that task force? Because I think the board needs to approve task force members.
Oh, no,
Okay.
I don't have any. I guess maybe I need to have, no, I haven't received any, and I can communicate to Susan. She'll
Yeah,
need to
I think
forward those. Yeah.
I think she had suggested to them that they send something to info
Okay.
at, so I don't know if
Okay.
anyone did, but so maybe at our next meeting we could
Yeah,
appoint
I
them.
haven't received anything. I'll email Susan and ask her to ask them again to just forward to us their interest. Okay, so that's the outreach. All right, then we get to the agenda for the April 12th general meeting. And I think so. Alex is going to run this meeting. And I think I looked back at the agenda for the February meeting. I just made some, I'll send this to both Alex, to you, and when it's all done, I'll send it to you, Alex, and I'll send it to Candace, who usually posts this. But we've got a welcome, we've got the conflict of interest, we got the February minutes, Tillamook County notices, treasurer report, the executive board report, which I'll put something in there, Alex, for you to say for the executive board report. And
Okay.
but I think you've been at both of them. So if you feel free
Yeah.
to change it as you wish,
Sure, if that
Send
if that
something.
doesn't get done, I'm sure I can
Yeah.
do that.
Okay. And then we've got the election. I put the election in, which is the big, well, one of the big items that day, the election of the secretary and the chair. So now the election, we will have something for you to read, Alex. And Nancy, I think you have it in the proposed policies and
can-
procedures. Okay.
I can send it to both you and Alex if you'd like.
Okay.
It's
That'd be
really
great.
before any motion, actually.
Yeah. It's basically just a statement covering, and we that voting's going to be on the honor system. And so it's a comment to that if you're going to vote today on the election, it is on the honor system. You have to meet one of these 3 or 4 categories, and then how many can vote on a, if you're a bunch on a property. So it's sort of reading that. It is reading that before the election happens, Alex.
Yep.
So that everybody knows.
Yeah.
We were actually
Um,
talking, I think, about having it
A
on
reminder.
the bottom of the agenda or something too, didn't we? And they could have
Yeah.
a link to a more detailed version of it, so we don't have to
Yeah.
read a detailed version. But
Okay. Okay, let me make a note of that. Okay.
yeah, I can send that out later today.
Okay. We can
Um,
summarize it, and then everyone will have a link or be able to read a little more in depth.
Right. And they also have an option in the chat to contact Michael, the parliamentarian, assuming he's going to be there. They could
Mhm.
send up a private message to him too if they want more information.
yeah, Michael's always great about kind of, somebody had a question about, I don't know, Nancy, if they had a question about whether they qualify or what. I mean, Michael's really good about that. And
Mhm.
so so
They could even
that's,
ask in the
yeah.
middle of the meeting too if they wanted
Mhm.
to.
Yeah, they could,
Either
before
way.
the
But yeah,
vote,
Michael's really good
you
at
could
it.
ask a question about voting, or am I eligible to vote, or here's my situation. That's probably fine to do before the vote, just so everybody understands. So the election, and then I have announcements. I haven't received any to date for,
Any
just
candidates?
what I call PSA, public
Oh.
service announcements. No, this is just the announcement. I haven't received any candidate information, and I also haven't received any folks wanting to just do what I just call a public service announcement. And so I haven't received either of those, but we'll put announcements in there as a placeholder if we get something. And then I've got community plan and bylaws reports, and then public comment and adjourned. So I think that's what I've got for the agenda on that day.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I think hopefully, yeah, go ahead, Alex.
You're going to be running the election poll, right?
Gary, you mean?
Gary?
Yeah, I will set that up that'll go through Zoom.
Okay. Yeah. So, and I just,
Do we know if
Alex,
there are
you're,
any-
oh, go ahead.
Yeah, do you know this is at this point?
You would cut out a little bit. You probably asked it. Can you say it again, Alex?
Sorry. We notice from the county at this point.
You've turned into R2D2 the way.
R2D2.
Yeah.
Try it again. Oh, now there's no signal.
Notice from the county.
Uh,
So come back
Oh.
in.
We lost him altogether.
Guessing he's gonna
Oh.
come back in.
okay,
Hopefully.
there he
There he
is.
is.
Now you're on mute, Alex.
There we go.
Mhm.
Okay, sorry about that. Was driving
Yeah.
through the boonies. My only question was, do we know at this point if we have any notices from the county, and where's the latest spot to find those to read them out?
Mhm.
So I looked, it's about, checked our Gmail account 2 days ago. I didn't see any notices from the county yet. So nothing's come through. And typically when something does, I will take and summarize that, and I'll have that available to report if there's.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
So one thing that
Yeah.
Sarah mentioned when we were talking about guidance on legislative matters is that there is apparently going to be a county ballot measure coming up on some kind of tax. It's failing me right now, but apparently this spring. You guys familiar with it? It's
So that's
sponsored
probably
by
the,
Tillamook County.
I think that's probably my guess is that's a TLT tax,
That's it. That's
transient
it.
lodging tax. And I think they're currently, I think it's 10% for tax on short-term rentals, and they're wanted, I don't know where they ended up. They were thinking about raising it to 15. I think they might have settled on 13 or 14, I believe.
And she said there may be a request coming to us to have them come in and talk about that at a meeting. I don't know what day the ballot, the vote would be.
Mhm.
So I don't know if it would be the April meeting or the May meeting, but we did
Mhm.
talk because of what happened last November with that request, and we weren't sure what to do. And she
Mhm.
said it would be fine for us to have the county come, but they've actually come to other CACs. In fact, they're coming into 2 other CACs to present this ballot measure. But she said it is also fair to invite any opposition that's recognized as opposition to come in also. That we are not to take a
Mhm.
position on a ballot measure because the county cannot take a position on something it is putting forward. But we can certainly present as information to the community and offer them an opportunity to ask questions. So that might be another agenda item. Let me
Mhm.
see if I can find, because they should have published it if they're going to do it this spring.
Well, the election's the latter part of May, I think.
Is it? Okay.
Um,
Yeah, here it is.
I guess maybe the question would be, are we, you know, uh, would we allow somebody to make a presentation or present information at a feedback meeting, or, where you're having a bylaws or community plan feedback meetings, or is it just the general membership meetings?
Yeah, it seems like a general membership meeting. I wouldn't
Right.
think it would take very much time. It looks like May 20th. It's
Yeah.
possibly a 12%. Looks like a 12% tax
Okay.
on May
Okay.
20th. So it would have to be the April meeting. So that would be
And
something
I
maybe
haven't,
for you guys to think about.
I haven't gotten any requests for that.
No, last time it
it,
was really last minute, but she did say that they already are coming to 2 other CACs. So
okay. Okay.
we might want to just plan for it.
Is that something we should
Mhm.
put on the agenda? And if it doesn't happen, we just skip it, just so we have enough notice?
Well, I think we could maybe just, I don't know how folks feel, but we could put it under announcements. That's kind of a placeholder, but maybe that's not the right place to put it. Um, it is, it kind of falls under a public service announcement a little bit, but, um,
I don't know. I think it'd be its own agenda
mhm.
item. It sounds like the campaign would be happy to come, and I don't know if there's any organized opposition or not. It seems like the county would know if they have any organized opposition, but we are an arm of the county, and so she felt pretty firm that we could have them come
Uh-huh.
in so that the people are informed.
Yeah. Well, I think we just wait and see if we get any requests for that. I won't do the agenda right away. I think we have to do, was it Saturday? Might be. I guess it's Saturday. I have to submit
2
the
weeks,
agenda,
yeah.
right?
Mhm.
So today's Wednesday. So, and actually, you know, last time, Nancy, they did contact me probably a month ahead.
Oh, was it that long? Okay. It
Yeah,
seemed like it was right
yeah,
before our executive board meeting and we just didn't know what to do. We didn't have a
yeah,
policy. So now we have one drafted. It's not approved, but we
yeah,
have one drafted.
yeah, yeah. It was a little bit further out
Mhm.
last time.
Okay.
We just didn't know what to do with it,
Right.
with the request. So, okay. So I'll work on the agenda. I guess I have to get this to to Candace on Saturday. So I'll put the agenda together, and then Alex, what I'll probably do, Alex, is send you a copy of the agenda with my comments on the executive board, or
Okay.
I'll try and also attach. I think Nancy's going to send us both the part from the bylaws about what we read before the election,
Mhm.
what we would
I'll
read
do that
before the
right after the
election.
meeting.
So, and then, you know, you can ask me any, certainly ask me any questions you have about the agenda.
Great. Will do.
Okay. Um,
I do have
so
one
let,
final note, I guess, that
yeah,
came out of the bylaws subcommittee meeting, what Chris might find interesting. We were talking about fundraising for NCAC kinds of activities. Actually, I think Susan had brought it up as a question from the outreach, because she's got some of her outreach people, or one in particular was interested in putting out some fundraising things, having been at the general meeting where we were talking about needing donations just to keep our business going, our operations going. And Sarah said she committed in our meeting to make sure that we were funded by whatever we needed, that Chris should send her receipts and she will make sure we get reimbursed for whatever we need. And so passing that on to you, Chris.
This was Sarah?
Yeah.
yeah,
She
Wow.
said she doesn't want to just give us money. She wants to, but that they're going to do this for all the CACs. It's part of her budget package, but it sounds like she was going to do it retroactively for this year. So you might try it. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's certainly worth the effort.
yeah.
'Cause she didn't want us fundraising. She was really, didn't you get that impression, Mark? She was
Yeah,
pretty adamant.
she really said we should take the donate button off of the website.
Yeah.
She
Don't
said,
do it.
don't do it yet, but she said, yeah, anyways, because we're a function of the county, it gets complicated if we start getting into money. And I think there's going to be more clarification down the road from her about this, but that's kind of what she said. It was a little bit surprising because I think Susan said, oh, we've got some, yeah, well, that's what she said. We've got some folks who want to donate, to keep the website up and help with that. And she said, oh no, we really don't. So, so anyways,
So
I
I
know
think,
Chris, I've sent her the stuff, Chris, she has the stuff. So I don't know what to say. She basically said, don't ask for funds. We will get you money. So, so
yeah, it might even been send us the bill and we'll pay the bill rather than refund
yeah,
us. I
yeah,
don't know if that would,
yeah,
I'm not clear. We'll have to ask her. She's going to be at our next meeting
yeah,
too. We'll have to ask her more.
yeah.
Clarification.
Yeah, because if they don't pay the bill on time, we lose the,
Right.
we don't want to be in a position of not
Is
being able
she
to do this
aware
stuff.
that the things that we do get charged for are on people's personal accounts? And if that's the case, maybe the counties should have it as an account on their end rather than relying on volunteers and then asking for reimbursement.
Yeah,
I would be worried they don't pay their bills.
yeah,
That's kind of what she said, Gary, though. I
Yeah.
mean, what you just said is what she said to us.
yeah.
And so, yeah, we're linked to the county. And if we behave badly regarding money matters, it goes to the county. And she just doesn't want us to be in that position. And so,
Badly.
well, I mean, not, I don't know, not accounting for every penny, or Chris is a CPA. Money issues, any money issues. And I know that can happen, having been in schools. There's money flying around all the time, and accounting for where it is and where it came and where it went is sometimes a real challenge to do. Not that we'd have
Yeah,
a
and
lot of money, but
I'm pretty anal about that stuff too, but we have a budget of
Yeah.
$1,500.
Right.
I gave up on it. So
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, and not because of you, Chris, that's for anybody who would be treasurer.
Yeah.
But yeah, we appreciate you. Oh, okay, sorry. I thought that was an
Okay.
interesting interjection.
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, it was. I was a little surprised, but okay. So I don't see, I didn't even look. I don't see anybody here. I think if there's no other comments, I think we're ready to wrap up.
Okay.
And I don't hear any. Okay. So we'll adjourn the meeting at 2:06 p.m. And everybody have a good day, and we'll see you at the next meeting.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Oh, when is
Okay.
our next meeting? When is our next meeting? Sorry.
Yeah.
Is it going to
it's
be 1
April.
o'clock?
It's let me look at my calendar here. Okay, let's see here. Is it the 23rd? I have 3:30 on the 23rd. Is there a better time? We
April
want to do one.
23rd.
Chris, were you saying
One
you
o-
prefer 1 o'clock?
3:30 works for me.
Okay, works
Okay.
for me.
Yeah, I'm good.
That's the 23rd of April, Wednesday at 3:30.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay, and I may or may not be at that meeting, but have that meeting, and if I'm not there, Chris can run that. I'm sorry, not Chris, Alex can
I
run
can
that.
run that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Have a good day.